And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Base Sunday. I'm your host, Frank Malico, filling in for Sydney Kohara, who will be back next week. We've got a special theme show in recognition of the upcoming 30th anniversary of the discovery of HIV/AIDS. And remember, you can always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can also pitch us story ideas. We love that on social media, cbssf.com. Today, we have brought together some of the most dedicated nonprofit HIV/AIDS organizations involved with education, prevention, and awareness. First up, we have two organizations who specialize in aiding people of color. Here to talk with us are Dr. Eduardo Morales, distinguished professor at the California School of Professional Psychology and the executive director of AGUILAS and the Black Coalition of AIDS, aka BCA, Javari Wilson. Gentlemen, good to have you on board.
Thank you
so much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting us.
Well, Dr. Morales, why don't we start with you? Talk about AGUILAS. What's it stand for, and what's it all about?
It basically started actually in the early 90s, where people felt like there needed to be some kind of voice from the Latino, gay, bisexual, lesbian community in San Francisco Bay Area. And so they formed this organization, which means, in English, it's a Spanish acronym, Association of Gays United for Impacting Latinos and Latinas Towards Self-Empowerment. And from that developed this HIV program because the city found out, well, what can we do? You know, people were tired of the condoms over cucumbers and bananas and whatever variation you wanted, and the people wanted to go into it a little more deeper, and they felt like it wasn't enough. So we actually did a randomized trial, and we figured out a strategy to do an intervention, which is more of having the participants in the community be a part of the whole program. We hire consultants to come in and do the facilitation of groups. We have peer facilitators to help train and build a pipeline in the workforce. We have a group of volunteers that help with all of our different activities. And essentially what we offer is HIV prevention. We offer them in group discussion formats for people who are positive, people who are not positive, but basically a Latino, gay, bisexual men. We also individual counseling and a lot of outreach and to try to get guys into the program.
Well, very good. And Javari, how about the Black Coalition of AIDS?
Well, the Black Coalition on AIDS and Rafiki Wellness was started in 1986 by a group of straight men, straight women, gay and lesbians, who felt compelled to address the threat of HIV and AIDS and its impact, its devastation it was having on our communities. So essentially, our mission is to reduce the health disparities in the African American community, as well as particularly to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. By doing this, we provide health and wellness services in addition to, but not solely, but in addition to transitional housing, case management, Rafiki, wellness transitional housing, and education, advocacy, and case management, and HIV prevention services, and other health promoting services as well. So we are basically focusing on the section in the southeast quarter of San Francisco, which is Bayview, Hunters Point, Visitation Valley, but we also reach out and outreach to the Fillmore community or Western Addition, the Tenderloin, as well as south of Market. So that's what we have been doing, and we are also proud to say that this year marks our 25th anniversary of the organization's existence as well.
That's great. That's great. Well, there's so much misinformation out there about HIV and AIDS, and you know, we've known about this now for 30 years. What would you want our viewers to take away? What should they know about the disease now?
I think you have to look at it in the context of communicable diseases. And when you look at it that way, it comes all together. Because the risks that you would take with HIV can also affect you for hepatitis, for TB, many other diseases. So it's really the communicable diseases that you really need to keep focused on. And if you protect yourself against those, you're going to protect yourself against HIV. The typical message is, you know, using a condom if you plan to have sex, and you need to take those kinds of precautions. As most people know, if you're an IV drug user, you really shouldn't be sharing your needles with anybody. There are needle exchange programs in San Francisco that can help facilitate not using needles that could be contaminated. So there are those strategies that, by and large, most Americans know. If you don't know that, you've been living under a rock. But really, to look at it from the perspective of communicable diseases makes more sense, because we do have an STD problem. And it varies by different communities of color. We do have teens who are having sex differently because they don't want to get pregnant. So anal intercourse may be something that they might be doing more, but they don't realize that they also still need to protect themselves in those situations. So if you think of it that way, it could, it'll come together and protect the community much better.
And I agree with everything that Eduardo has just said, but I would also add that I think it's important that the viewers walk away with the fact that this is not just a gay disease or not a gay disease, because many of the clients that I work with inside of jail and that are outside of jail believe that this is still, in fact, a gay disease, and they cannot or will not contract the virus. So, and know that they do not have to go about this alone if they are infected. There are help. There are people out there to assist you and help you to navigate the system and to get the right care that you need and that you deserve. So know that this is not a gay disease. It's a human disease, and that is treatable. And it does not mean that this is the end of your life. Sure. So I think that people and the viewers should understand, and I want them to walk away with knowing that as well. You know, we're running out of time. We could talk to you two forever here, but talk about how can we get involved in your organization. And
essentially, you can call. You know, if you want to participate in a group or need some counseling, help us volunteer. It's a phone call. You know, area code 415-558. 8403. Sure. And people can connect that way. One thing that people need to be, that we're very, very concerned about is there is this money being pumped in on the federal level as well as county and state levels on HIV. But lately what we found with the national plan of 5 years ago, and also with the initiative of targeting Latino and African-American gay bisexual men, that actually the Centers for Disease Control that released about $240 million said that those were priority groups, and they didn't do it within the Latino community. It's a very, very serious problem that they underfunded in this round. And we are in various throes of addressing that through the press we have, and also having a meeting with them this week with the providers around that issue.
I'll have to stop right there, guys. Thank you so much, Eduardo and Javari. Thank you so much for coming in, and we wish your organizations all the best.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about Aguilas and BCA, log on to sfaguilas.com or bcoa.org. Stay with us. Our discussion on HIV/AIDS will continue right after this.